What if I told you that within 90 days, the world could face a food crisis so severe, money might not even matter? Sounds insane, right? But one financial expert is warning. If tensions with Iran escalate, we could be looking at a chain reaction that hits food, energy, and the global economy, all at once. And whether you believe him or not, his argument reveals just how fragile our world really is. Welcome back to Digestible Conversations. I'm Hakeem Mamdani, and today we're breaking down one of the most alarming predictions right now: a possible global famine triggered by war, supply chains, and economic collapse. But here's the key question. Is this a real warning, or just fear-driven speculation? Let's break it down. It all starts with one place most people have never thought about: the Strait of Hormuz. This narrow stretch of water carries a massive portion of the world's oil and gas. If conflict with Iran shuts it down, even temporarily, energy prices don't just rise, they explode. Now here's where it gets serious. Modern agriculture depends heavily on fertilizers, and fertilizers depend on energy, especially natural gas. So if energy spikes, fertilizer becomes scarce or too expensive. And if farmers can't fertilize crops, yields drop fast. This isn't theory. We saw early signs of this during the Ukraine war. Now imagine that. On a global scale, here's the uncomfortable truth. Our world runs on something called just-in-time systems. That means food isn't stored, long-term supplies arrive exactly when needed. There's very little buffer. It's efficient, but fragile. So when one piece breaks, like energy, everything else starts to wobble. Transport slows down, costs skyrocket, shortages begin. And suddenly, it's not just about oil anymore. It's about whether food can even reach shelves. But the expert goes even further. He argues this isn't just a geopolitical risk, it's happening at a time when the global economy is already unstable. Massive debt, rising interest rates, and what he believes is an AI-driven bubble. So if a major shock hits now, it's not just higher prices, it could trigger market crashes, job losses, a deeper economic downturn. In other words, the system doesn't just bend, it could break. Now let's be clear. The claim that we'll see a global famine in 3 months is highly unlikely. Why? Because real-world systems adapt. Trade routes shift, governments intervene, markets respond. But here's what is real. We are far more dependent on fragile global systems than most people realise. And when those systems are stressed, the consequences can come faster than expected. So maybe the real takeaway isn't fear, it's awareness. Because whether or not this prediction comes true, it exposes something deeper. We're living in a world that looks stable on the surface, but underneath, it's more connected and more vulnerable than ever before. If you found this breakdown valuable, subscribe for more deep dives into the conversations shaping our world.